There we go.
As the leader of the party, should the president be calling for the senator's resignation in general?
Just not going to get beyond what I just said. And what we believe as far as anything else, whether it's resigning or anything else that's related to Senator Mendez and his role and him as a senator, obviously, in Congress, that's something for the Senate leadership to decide.
Okay. And then on the school shooting in Iowa, I wondered if you could talk about anything the White House has coming on gun safety or gun control, and what more can the White House be doing this year as we're looking at another shooting?
Look, and I stated in the top how we're just a couple of days in.
What the hell?
Right, we're just a couple of days into the new year, and we're talking about another shooting, and that is heart-wrenching and that is heartbreaking. And as I stated at the top, enough is enough. And we're going to continue certainly to call on Congress to act. Obviously, Congress did act in a bipartisan way, passing the first comprehensive piece of anti-gun violence legislation that the president signed. And so we are happy that we got there, and the president obviously has taken more action than any president in his first 2 years. Signing more than 24 executive orders to deal with this epidemic that is the #1 killer of our kids. And so, look, we have to keep doing the work. And what I can say is just last month, we hosted the largest ever White House convening of state legislators to discuss actions that they can take to end this epidemic of gun violence. And so we also announced the Safer States initiative to drive additional progress from investments in gun crime prevention and intervention to common sense laws to keep guns out of dangerous hands. And so we're going to keep doing that. And this is, again, this is a president that has taken unprecedented action here. We're always going to look for other ways to deal with this. We've started, obviously created the first anti-gun violence office, which is incredibly important. It's helping communities it's going to help communities like the community in Iowa, but also implement. We also have to implement these more than 24 executive actions that the president signed into law. Okay, JJ.
On the child tax credit, would President Biden be open to a tax deal that includes a child tax credit being expanded and renews the expired research tax credits?
So obviously the president strongly believes that any bill that is out there in Congress that certainly cuts taxes for big corporations must cut taxes for working people and families with children.
Yes.
Right, especially to reduce child poverty. That's why the American Rescue Plan, the first piece of legislation that this president signed that only had Democrats' votes on it, was so important because it had that child tax credit in it. And what we learned from that is it helped cut child poverty by nearly half. And so obviously this is something that the president supports. And so we'll see. We will see what Congress brings forth.
So the part about renewing the expired research tax credits, he also supports that?
So
What the hell is wrong with you people?
That is something that I need to be really mindful and talk to our team here about that. I just don't have anything beyond that, but obviously this is something that is incredibly important to the president. We want to make sure that what bill comes out, if there is a bill that comes out in this legislative session, as it gives tax cuts for big corporations, that it must also give tax cuts for working families. That is something that we have seen from this Congress in the last legislation putting forth those types of bills. And so that's what the president would certainly want to see.
Okay.
And what we continue to see from Speaker Johnson and Republicans, House Republicans, I know Jackie asked a question about something that I said yesterday in May, and I'll repeat it. I repeat what I said yesterday. In May, House Republicans decided to vote on a bill that would cut 2,000 Border Patrol agents at the border. That's what they did. That's what they did. And they continue to obstruct and get in the way of of the president wanting to move forward with a supplemental that includes border security. They're getting in the way of it.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
They are. While Senate Republicans and Democrats in a bipartisan way are trying to find a way, a bipartisan agreement to deal with border security, you have House Republicans who left. They left in the middle of December, and I think they come back next week. Maybe they'll get some work done. Instead, They're playing politics.
So is that a no?
Look, what I can say is what the president has done. I'm not going to speak to data. I have not seen any data that would show this, so certainly I can't speak to that.
Alrighty then.
What I can say is the actions and what the president has done and how seriously he has taken this on his first day, understanding that this system has been broken for decades. This immigration system has been broken for decades. Under a Republican president, under a Democratic president, it has been broken.
And as negotiations continue, are there any red lines for the White House when it comes to negotiating what Republicans are demanding when it comes to policy?
Look, I'm going to stay consistent here. I'm not going to negotiate from here, from the podium.
Fire! Call the fire!
I'm going to let folks who are negotiating, the senators, both on the Democratic side and obviously on the Republican side, who are negotiating this. Obviously, we have been involved. They've been talking through the holidays. We really appreciate their efforts here. We think we're headed in the right direction, and so it is best from this podium to not get involved and not inject myself into the conversation, and so we're going to let them do their job.
Thank you.
Okay.
On House Republicans and getting this supplemental request passed, House Republicans have made clear to this point that they are not interested in signing off on a border deal, anything short of H.R. 2, which they passed. So is there any outreach from the White House to House Republicans to try to get the supplemental across the finish line and get a deal?
They went home in December. They literally went home in mid-December. That's what.
Is it a miscalculation by the White House to not be in touch with House Republicans who are
We're in touch-
necessary to get this?
We're in regular touch with Senate Republicans who are at the table with us, with other Democrats in the Senate, having a real conversation about a bipartisan agreement. They're talking for themselves. They basically took action by leaving in mid-December while the Senate side was actually having conversation to deal with an issue. They're playing politics. So I'm going to let them, their actions are speaking for themselves. We're going to have a real conversation where the negotiation is actually happening in good faith with both Democrats and Republicans in the Senate, and that matters. That matters. And so we think it's going in the right direction. We want to continue to have those conversations. It's been happening for some time now. And so we'll let them put something forward, and we'll move from there.
You serious?
But if House Republicans are slamming White House immigration policies, why is the White House not in touch with those Republicans who, again, would need to approve of a deal to get the critical supplemental request that you've talked about?
I'm not saying that we're not going to have, at some point, we're not going to have a conversation with House Republicans. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that their actions have proven to everyone where they stand on this.